This is a 2006 Toyota Highlander. This is the ignition lock cylinder for this car with the ignition key, and it would normally go right here by the steering column. The problem we had with this ignition lock is that the key would no longer turn, so no matter how you try to turn it, it would no longer turn, so you could not start the car. In this video, I'm going to show you what to do if you get in this situation. I'm going to show you how you get the ignition lock out of the steering column and how you can turn the ignition to start the car, and also what you need to do in order to fix the problem with the ignition lock cylinder. In order to get the ignition lock cylinder, we're going to have to remove some of the trim pieces that surround it. We're going to start with this console piece, then this surround piece, then the two clamshell pieces of the steering column, and that'll get us down in here. And you might be wondering, well, how do we turn the key? Don't worry, I'm going to save the best for last, so keep watching. This trim piece for the radio and the climate control console is the first thing that you must remove. And you just pry it out using a plastic pry tool or a butter knife or whatever, what have you. You just press it outwards and then it comes off. This trim piece that runs along the top of the steering column to either side must be removed, and it can just be pried off. You can even pry it off with your fingers if you're strong enough, just like that, and you do that on the other side and then it comes off. This trim piece has two electrical connectors that go into it, and once it's off, they're very easy to remove just by pressing the tab as usual. The lower clamshell has a Phillips head screw underneath, right in the middle. You have to remove that first. The bottom clamshell has two Phillips head screws that secure it in place. They're hidden. You have to turn the steering wheel to access them. First to one side and you remove one screw, and then the other side and you remove the other screw. The lower clamshell just secures itself into the top clamshell, and you can use some kind of pry tool or a butter knife or whatever to pry them apart. You can do that on both sides, and you release the plastic tabs that hold the top clamshell to the bottom clamshell, and then the bottom clamshell can come right off. The top piece of the clamshell just sits on top of the stalks. The windshield wiper stalk, it's seated on this little square piece here. And this, if you can see it, is how it's seated on the left side. So all you have to do is just pop it off of here, and it comes off. And it's hard to do this with just one hand. Just grab it on either side with both hands and pop it off. The illumination ring has two little tabs that hold it in place. One is right here on this side, and the other is right up here. Let's see if we can show them a little bit better here and there. And you just pry these with your fingernail. You pry both of them at the same time, and then this ring slides off. After you remove the ring from the column, it's easy to disconnect it from the wire harness just by pushing this little tab. Finally, we're down to the last step for getting this ignition lock out of the steering column. And in order to do this, there's a little button. You can see it right there. On this car, it's on the side of the cylinder. And you're going to take something like a little punch like this, and you're going to put it against the button and push it firmly. And then with the key in the first position, you just pull out and the lock cylinder comes right out. So for this to work, the key has to be in the first position. That is the position between the off position and the run position. Here is the key in the off position. Here is the first position, and this is the run position where all the lights come on the dash. So when you push the button to release the cylinder, the only way it will work is if the key is in the first position. I'm going to show you why the key has to be in the first position. Here's the little button that you push through the housing on the steering column. Right there is the little round button. And this button locks the cylinder in place in its housing. And the only way you can depress this button is if the key is in the first position, which it's not right now. It's in the off position. I'm going to put it in the first position. And now I should be able to depress this button, which I am. It depresses very easily now. I've saved the best for last, which is how do we turn this key if it's stuck? Well, the answer is you use one of these, a hammer. Any kind of hammer will do. Okay, and I kid you not, what you do is you tap the head of the key and you tap it and the key will turn. Guaranteed. What this does, it releases the stuck tumblers and the key will turn. So how hard do you have to hit it? Well, if you hit it and it does not turn, then hit it a little bit harder. And you can hit it a little bit harder progressively until it turns. And you might have to tap it a little bit convincingly to persuade it, but don't worry, it is not going to hurt anything. And as long as you hit it square, you're not going to bend the key or break the head off. So just hit it square and hit it as hard as you have to. So in this specific situation with this car, it was really not necessary to remove the ignition lock. It turned out that the real problem was that all the keys that we have available for the car were all worn out. So we had a new key made to the factory codes of the car. And this new key that is made to the factory spec turns the ignition lock. There's no need to rebuild the ignition lock or replace it, and that was good news. So I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.